Good evening, LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us. My name is Morgan Murray. I'm the founder of CleanCircle, and tonight we have Raymond Shelton. He's one of our recovery coaches, and he's the owner of Recovery on Course. Would you like to introduce yourself, Raymond?
Hi, thank you, Morgan. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Right.
Yes, my name is Raymond Shelton, and I am a nationally certified peer recovery specialist. And I have been doing this work for about 6 years. Um, I I kind of came in through the back door, I guess. I had a 25-year career working in the entertainment and live event industries, and I was at a point where I was just tired. I was done. And at the time, I had my own company and was just feeling like I was at the end of the road, and career-wise, I had, I'd been in recovery a number of years. I got sober when I was 21, while I was in college, and this month, in just a few weeks, I'm going to be celebrating 37 years, which is kind of hard to believe. So I had been in recovery for a long time, obviously. And so here I was at this crossroads, and I was having dinner with a good friend one night, who's also in recovery and has worked in the field for a long time in various capacities. And so I was lamenting my state, and she said, "Have you ever thought about becoming a recovery coach?" And I was like, ugh. I said, professional sponsorship? No, thank you. And she just laughed and she goes, "It's not what you think it is." And she told me that there was a training in a couple of weeks, and that she thought that I should do it. So I kind of hemmed and hawed, and finally she was like, "Look, they're saving you a space. I've already paid for it. Just go." So I like to say that I was voluntold to go into the training. But over the course of those 5 days that I was in that training, I started to see what peer recovery coaching actually is and what it looks like. And I realized that it really utilized a lot of the skills that I have. And it was a way to really use my experience in a way that could benefit others. I really just saw it as a path forward, into something that I could do long term. And that's been the case, and it's enabled me to open the doors to provide an array of recovery services. I started my own firm about 2021, so it's been about four and a half years, and I started doing coaching. And then I was also doing, I added in transports, where I do sober transports, helping people get to treatment, working with a lot of families, helping them kind of identify the appropriate level of care for their loved one, the right treatment facility, because once one facility is not right for everyone. So I take all those things into account and help them identify one or two places instead of just Googling treatment centers.
Sure.
Don't ever do that. So doing that, I've done companion work where I'll actually go and live with someone for a period of time, whether that be a week or two, and just help them get their supports in place in their community, help them readjust back into life, and family and work, coming out of treatment. So that's been real rewarding. And one more thing, I'm also a certified mindfulness and recovery facilitator. And so I regularly lead mindfulness and meditation groups in outpatient programs, sober livings, things of that nature, doing workshops. And so I do a variety of different things.
Yeah.
But the coaching I really love, just that one-on-one connection and being that person that's like a witness to somebody's recovery. It's a special relationship.
Yeah, those moments are hard to describe, but they're amazing. They
Yeah.
definitely, I think,
Yeah.
well, first off, congratulations on your sobriety. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Especially at 21, that's incredible,
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And that was what was so interesting when I, when I hit treatment and even afterwards, going into recovery, going into support groups, I heard a lot about like, oh, you're so fortunate you got it before it got bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I was actually on the way out. Thank you. I had determined that if this is the way that my life is going to go, I'm done.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight was a real gift because it gave me an opportunity and options that I didn't know that I had. So that's what I like to be able to do with the people that I work with, is just let them know that there are options, and life doesn't have to be this hard and this miserable. I often say that addiction is a disease that wants me dead, but it'll settle for miserable.
Oh yeah. It will.
Yeah. And so being able to kind of step off that elevator at any point, I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here. Like literally, I know that sounds cliche, but I would have been gone a long time ago if I hadn't found my own recovery.
Well, I'm glad you stuck around. We got the chance to meet.
Me too.
One of the terms you used in there, and I'm going to throw you in a curveball here. So you said you voluntold for the recovery and coaching kind of meeting, kind of see what it is. When did it actually like click? When were you like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. This makes sense. I want to do that.
It happened. It happened during that training. During those 5 days, I particularly when we started doing some role playing, and I was the coach, and another person in my group was the peer, and I just saw, oh, this kind of comes naturally to me. I can kind of break through some of that resistance. Yeah, it was just that kind of, how it is. You get that inner knowing of like, oh, maybe I can do this. Yeah, maybe this is a right fit. So.
Well, that's great. I prepared a list of 5 questions for you. So I'm going to start with the first one. So how do you take care of your own mental health while supporting others?
That is a very good question. It's interesting sometimes, actually all the times when I'm working with someone, when I'm working with a peer and helping them kind of decide what their next move is, or talking about a situation that they might be in, I find myself passing along information that would be good if I was actually practicing at the moment. And I think that's the one thing about being being in long-term recovery, I think it's important for people new in recovery to realize that we're all going through the same things, and I see that really the only real advantage to long-term sobriety is that I have the ability to bounce back quicker for those solutions to start to take effect quicker. So that's it. We're all just here today, and we're trying our best to get through, and we don't have to do it alone. I think that's been one of the things. So to answer your question, my community connection is very important. It's been said that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. Because I felt so isolated and alone in my addiction, and that community has been the game changer, and that's what I love about what you've created here. It's a chance for us to really build a community, and then once we kind of understand what community feels like and the benefits of it, then we're able to replicate it in other areas of our life. So I'm big on connection. That's part of my daily practice too. Is looking for all those opportunities to just connect with people. I attend my regular support groups. I keep in very close contact with my spiritual advisors, the people that help keep me on track. And one thing is the way that I really kind of maintain my sanity in terms of doing this work, in terms of coaching, is I have a supervisor. I have somebody that I work with regularly, because I really do believe that in order to be an effective coach, I have to have a coach.
Sure.
Yeah, and so supervision is a real way that I kind of help keep myself balanced, and yeah. So doing.
That was a great answer. One of the things I really like about you is that you come at recovery with almost like you're very serious, but you also bring this positive energy and a sense of humor.
Mm.
It's really just from experience. It's really hard to find that. I remember some of the first rooms I went into, had to at least be 20 years the youngest and probably about 30 years on average. It was a South Denver meeting. Won't say more.
Mm-hmm.
We figured out. But it was just miserable for me. They're like, yep, you're gonna come here, you're gonna make coffee, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. And I was like, I just want to go outside. Like,
and that works for some people.
yes, okay.
And we're lucky. I'm in Denver also. I've lived in Dallas. I've lived in New York City. I got sober in North Carolina. So I've lived in a lot of different places. And, all of those places have a variety of meetings around the clock that you can try. And so I always encourage people to, especially in new recovery, if 12-step is your path of recovery, try some different meetings.
Sure.
Try a couple. Don't just go to one and say, "Oh, I didn't like that." Find a place. And now we live in a world where meetings can be found online all over the world. So there's a place for you if you will give it a chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would so I'll go back to my statement. So it kind of proves your point. So I found my favorite meeting, it's actually the CA meeting. But I've never tried that drug. I just, I got along with everybody. I was like, hey, this works. I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you said,
yeah.
Tried a lot of different meetings.
Yeah, but kind of going back to your question, I find humor and laughter very, healing. It's so when I'm working with people, I always look for opportunities to kind of inject some humor in the appropriate places, to help just kind of lighten the mood, just kind of lighten the mood. Because when, recovery is serious business. I mean, we're talking life and death here, it certainly was for me. Like I said, I was done. And so, yeah, we're dealing with life and death and serious situations in our lives, dealing with the consequences of our addictions and things like that. So, yeah, we take our recovery seriously. We just don't take ourselves so seriously, And so yeah, I'm really candid about my experience when I'm working with people, and I think just by example they can just kind of see how I'm able to laugh at myself yeah, just not take myself too seriously.
I think that's great. Definitely like that. Next
Yeah.
question I have. So, why did you join CleanCircle? And what kind of impact would you like to have? I mean, there's tons of platforms, tons of groups. Why'd you pick CleanCircle?
Well, that's a good question, and I just want to take the opportunity to really congratulate you and your development team on this platform that you're creating, and how you've brought a lot of us into the process. In terms of how do we think it would be most effective. So what excited me about this opportunity is because it's really the access to this kind of help. I see CleanCircle as kind of the epitome of meeting people where they are, and your app has made it really easy for people to access help at any given time, at any given place, to connect with people. My experience as a coach is, I think most people get experience or even knowledge that recovery coaching exists when they're in like a treatment setting or in a sober living. Treatment centers, sober livings have coaches available and on staff that everybody works with. But what do you do if you're not in one of those situations? Where do you find a recovery coach? And I think that this platform will be very educational in that sense. It's not just for a select few. It really opens up the door for more people to find this kind of support. And one of the things that I love so much about being able to do what I do is, when I was in treatment back in the late 1900s, I did my 28 days. They gave me a hug and they said, go to AA. And because that's all there really was. And today we live in an age, I think we're so fortunate that there are a lot of options for people. A 12-step might not work for everybody. It worked for me, but if it doesn't work for you, you're not going to be left out in the cold. We're going to find the right fit for you in terms of your recovery, and the places where you receive that kind of support. We've got a lot of options today, and we talk about many pathways. There is no right or wrong way, and along those lines, it's like when I'm working with somebody, I could have a very strong opinion or feeling about what I think you should do. It's just not my job to tell you that. My job is to ask you the questions that will then lead you to your own truth. truth to what's right for you, because I certainly, as practicing addicts and alcoholics, we've been told to do a lot of things in our lives, especially in the, you need to get sober, you need to get a job, you need to do, things like that. And I steer clear of all that. I'm very much about like, okay, what do you want? What's important to you? And then we go from there. And I think a lot of this is kind of trial and error. Okay, well, we'll try this. Let's see how it works. Okay, well, let's try something else, so yeah, I'm excited about the opportunities that this is going to have to connect people, and on the peer side to really build community, and the other things that we kind of have, that we've been discussing about other things that we can possibly offer in the future. So I see this platform as something that can really, the ground has been built, and there's going to be a lot more that we're going to be able to offer the people, the CleanCircle community.
Yeah, it's exciting. There's a lot of anybody watching. There's a lot of development.
Yeah,
works. And we're very excited and honored to have you, Raymond.
Yeah, well, you've got a great team, so
we do. We have, and you guys are my secret weapon. That's. Okay, next question. So what would you say to someone who's watching us and they feel scared, they don't want to reach out? Some examples I could give you would be, I'll give you three. So let's say somebody's like you, it's 21, but they're like, hey, I'm not done drinking. I just got my ID, right? Something like that. Another example, let's say somebody's 50, maybe they're a financial advisor, and they're like, well, I don't want anybody to know, which probably everybody knows, but let's say they don't. And let's say the last one's a gentleman, he's 81. He's kind of like, well, I've gotten it this far. Why should I stop now? So those are three examples, and I think somebody watching this will be able to relate to one of those.
Yeah. I believe that anyone who finds themselves at a point where they're downloading this app, where they're walking into some kind of support meeting, when they're going into treatment, something's not working in their lives, and we've tried a lot of things. And some of those things might work for a while, but we ultimately keep finding ourselves back at the same place. So if you're one of those people, no matter how old you are, no matter how much money you make or don't make, there is a place for you here, and so to each one of those people, I would just say the only time to improve your life is right now. So much of us have put it off. Oh, well, I'll do that. Oh, it's not that bad yet. So anytime, and to know that I appreciate that it's not easy. It's not easy to, push that button that says meet with a coach and actually show up. It's not easy when you're sitting in the parking lot of a support group and that door seems 15 miles away. If you can just muster the courage to take that step, to walk through that door, then it won't ever be that hard again. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And if it takes somebody 10 times of downloading this app and, and deleting it and downloading it and deleting it and maybe finding AA or something that works for them, I'm all for it. So,
yeah. And the thing is that we don't have to do any of this alone. It's actually not meant to be done alone. We need each other.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of us have proven that time and time again. doing what we've been doing hasn't worked. So coming in with a willingness to at least try something differently, have a conversation with someone just to see. We start slow. But I think people are surprised by how quickly things can change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Two more questions. So what makes
Okay.
your approach or coaching therapy style unique? So what makes Raymond unique? What makes your business unique?
That's a good question. I think one of the things, we've already kind of touched on the fact that most of my life has been spent in recovery. And that just means that I've gone through all the different stages of life, all the things that we experience in life, and I've been able to go through most of those in recovery and applying the principles, working the tools. So I have a lot of experience in that way. But also my approach is very self-directed. It's you decide. You decide where you want to go. And it's also very forward focused. We don't delve into the why of how I got here. We're focused on right now and moving forward. So just getting really clear about what's going on right now and what we might do, what solutions we might find for going forward, that we're not finding ourselves just back in the same cycle. So yeah, forward focused. My work is also very values driven. One of the first things that I like to do with peers when I'm working with them is really do an exercise where the peer determines what their values really are, what's important to them. I think we lose track of that in our addiction, and some people might not ever feel like they've really had any kind of value system, but we do. We just have to ask the question and then come up with our own answers. So values driven, very action oriented. During each session, by the time we end each session, we'll have some action steps to accomplish before the next time that we meet. And those are determined by you. Somebody will come in and they'll be like, well, I need to get a job. Okay, well, how's your resume? Oh, I haven't updated my resume in 5 years. Oh, okay, well, maybe that's the first place that we should start. Breaking these huge tasks that seem so insurmountable into manageable pieces, manageable steps, creating some accountability. Okay, so how soon do you think you can do that? What kind of help? And then that opens up opportunities for us to explore maybe some resistance there and things like that. So, I go into these sessions with people, with really no agenda and no expectation. I take what you come with, and then I just start asking a lot of questions. So it's that, but it is very action oriented. I believe that the only thing that separates the person you are from the person you want to be is the action you take. What are we going to do differently? So I would say that's my approach. Oh, and we laugh. We laugh a lot just because, like I said, it's just, we gotta kind of lighten the mood sometimes, because we are talking about life and death, but and we take our recovery seriously. We just don't have to take ourselves so seriously, so laugh,
Yeah.
let's laugh.
We have one more question. We have a couple
Okay, and
minutes.
I'll try to be short.
You got time. So you're going to be available on CleanCircle. So let's say you get somebody and they need a higher tier of care, or maybe they need something
Mm.
specific to what Recovery on Course offers. How do they get in contact with you?
Okay, that's a really good question. I see myself as a recovery coach as kind of a recovery traffic cop.
Yeah.
And what that means is, I'm not a clinician. I've had a lot of therapy and all that stuff, so I know how to walk right up to that clinical line and then be able to say, "That's a great thing to talk to your therapist about." And then that opens up a whole other thing. It's like, oh, well, I don't have a therapist. Oh, well, is that something you'd like to consider? You see, it just kind of goes that way. But when I'm working with someone, I can pretty well, I think in over the course of our work, we can see what's working and where we need some more help.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a higher level of care. Maybe it is some kind of residential facility. Maybe it is just an intensive outpatient thing. Maybe it's working with a different therapist. All of those things, So one of my hats, one of my roles is as a resource broker. Helping my people realize, there are options and I'm here to help you find the right one. And because that whole process can just be so daunting. But I think it reveals itself as we're working. If there's somebody who's like chronically relapsing, okay, well, maybe you need a little higher level of care. And that's what I love about this platform with all the coaches. We have 150 coaches at this point, all over the place, 9 different time zones. We can find help wherever you might be, because we're sharing our resources together. So.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. 150 coaches, 9 time zones, and I I get them on Slack all over the day.
I know, and we haven't even started yet. Yeah.
All right. Well,
So.
thank you very much, Raymond. If anybody, wants to get in touch with Raymond, just download Clean Circle on the 5th and type in his name, and you guys are good to go. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Morgan.